The expectations continue to roll in for the Baltimore Ravens for the 2025 season. A Ravens legend did not hold back on the team, and a former NFL quarterback unfairly boxed the Ravens in. All that and more coming up on Locked On Ravens.
You are Locked On Ravens, your daily Baltimore Ravens podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Ravens. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Kevin Ostraker of Ravens Wire, here with you on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks so much for being here today, making Locked On Ravens a part of your day and your first listen each and every single day. And thank you out there to all the everydayers, the first-time listeners. If you're somewhere in the middle, thank you as well. We have a jam-packed episode today. The first part of the show, former NFL quarterback, he unfairly boxed in the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, in terms of expectations. So we'll talk about that, as well as a current Raven responding to those remarks, and I think the perfect way. Then we'll dive into a Micah Parsons rumor that has been reported after the fact that relates back to the Ravens. We'll talk about major injury news being revealed for week one, as well as just some final feelings on the team. Here to do that with me on this bonus episode of the show is former Ravens receiver and Super Bowl champion Qadry Ismail of Missile Training and missiletraining.com, as well as the Locked On Ravens Squad Show. And Q, can you believe it? We're recording this on Friday for Saturday. When this comes out, we will be 1 day away from Baltimore Ravens regular season football. And I think since this is our official last show before that, I want to officially congratulate you. I know I've done it in jest, but congratulate you of making it through speculation season, at least for the next couple months, because once trade deadline comes up, you know I'm going to be hitting you with some more speculation once that comes up too.
Bro, I tell you what, it was a fun offseason. I think this is probably the first season where the Cleveland Browns didn't win the proverbial offseason Super Bowl of speculation and of all the things. I think that honor, it was going to go for a hot second there to the Baltimore Ravens, but I think the Dallas Cowboys, they took it hands down with all the drama that went on with them. And yeah, clearly the offseason is now in the rearview mirror, training camps and all the other things. Blah, 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 53-man roster. We got ourselves week one. It has already come about with the Eagles and Cowboys already playing their game. And I think now that the regular season is here, we could talk football. Good, honest to goodness football.
Man, it's like finally we made, it's all the training camp, the preseason, and now we've made it to the games that count. So the Ravens have to be on their P's and Q's. They certainly will try to do that against the Bills in week number one. We'll talk about that game a little bit later. But Q, I want to dive into some comments from Dan Orlovsky with you. He went on Get Up, and he and the rest of the crew, they were talking about expectations. And Dan Orlovsky, and this is a narrative that we have heard before, it's not anything new. He said that there is no organization and no team under more pressure than the Baltimore Ravens this season. And he said, quote, "At some point, we have to get past the reasons and excuses for why it doesn't happen. This is a team that has a Super Bowl winning head coach, that has the best roster in football. Their starting secondary is all first-round picks. They've got a quarterback that has multiple MVPs. At some point, you have to go win the whole thing, or there's got to be a restart." He talked about the game in particular for Sunday night, saying this game is massive for Baltimore. How many times do the organizations have this kind of setup and don't win the trophy? It doesn't happen often in this league. The Ravens are no stranger to this, Q. We know there's pressure on them. We know the expectation. We know with Lamar Jackson and this roster at Super Bowl or bust, we've had all those conversations, you and I. But to say that there is, like, the Ravens have the most pressure in the league and to essentially downplay some of these other teams. We talked with Coach Evans yesterday about a take from Daryl Moose Johnston, who said that the Bengals, he feels more confident in them winning the Super Bowl than the Ravens because, man, the Bengals were there a couple of years ago. By that, it feels like eons ago. The Bengals were actually there. But to me, it's just, it feels like the low-hanging fruit, right? It feels like, oh, this is just the take that everybody's going with, so I'm going to go with this take too. The Ravens are under pressure, but you can talk about the Bills as a team that haven't made it to the Super Bowl yet. You can talk about a team like the Lions, who lost both their coordinators. They've been on the cusp. What about them? You can talk about teams like the Packers, who just brought in Micah Parsons. Man, that adds some expectations to your plate. Maybe the Ravens are the team that has the most pressure, but it feels like people are talking about them like it's by far and away the Ravens one and everybody else like 3 tiers below them. And I think that's a little unfair.
In the grand scheme of it all, we all know that the hot take is what people are like. If they get a good hot take, they're going to run with it. If it is a hot take for the Ravens, okay, we got to talk about Lamar Jackson. I think the Raven fan base recognizes what's before them. They've had an extremely talented roster that was built through the draft and some free agents. They have a quarterback that is fully in his prime and ready to go. And so, if not now, when? When you look back when they had the number 1 seed, when you look back when they made it to the divisional round last year, and all the subsequent years where they were in the playoffs, they had the expectation of going to the Super Bowl. So, okay, great. We know that. Now it's, another year of that same expectation. But just as you so put it, when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, same thing. When you look at the Buffalo Bills, they've won 5 in a row AFC East Conference championships. So therefore, if they're the division winners and they've gotten their opportunities to have the crown on their head, Sean McDermott should be under the hot seat and under the gun. John Harbaugh should be under the hot seat and under the gun. I think it comes down to both head coaches. I think it is a scenario where let's see strategically who can, whether it be a strategic play call, whether it be an in-game adjustment, what is it that they can do to help their team get over the hump? I think it comes down to Sean McDermott and John Harbaugh. Those are the elephants in the room, whether it be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. Both quarterbacks, we know that they're great. Both quarterbacks, we know that they're franchise guys. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. It's not about Josh Allen. It's not about Lamar Jackson. It is about both teams. And under that narrative, it is John Harbaugh and Sean McDermott. Let me be clear.
And I wanted to bring up Orlovsky's comments for a couple different reasons. One, Terrell Suggs, he talked about the Ravens. It was on the Action Network. It was a couple days ago. And he was asked about the whole Super Bowl or bust thing, those expectations. And, Terrell Suggs was honest in his answer. He said, you never know, man. We hope so. But, the injury rate in the NFL is 100%. You got to stay healthy and you got to win the big games. You got to win the game you're supposed to, but also when the stage is the brightest and the stakes are the highest, you got to play your best football. The Ravens have been falling a little short on that in the previous years. So I don't think this is a make or break year. If they don't make the Super Bowl, I fear the team may go in different directions everywhere. They're on the clock, so to say, which is really interesting. I mean, again, the Ravens, in my opinion, you're not going to get rid of Lamar Jackson, right? But I think when you talk about John Harbaugh, right, that is an example of a guy where he's on the clock, right? That's exactly what it is. I think that's kind of the perception around the league. And I know John Harbaugh tried to downplay the whole Super Bowl or bust thing, and he talked about that. But I think everybody knows kind of what's at stake for them this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You recognize that off-season time, Eric DeCosta is in charge of building up the roster. He did. He built the roster. Started with Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie Stanley is signed under contract. Went to Rashad Bateman, got him, signed him under contract. You look at what they did as far as the draft. Their draft choices look great. Malachi Starks, he's going to be starting. He got rid of Marcus Williams. Eddie Jackson, a.k.a. Freddie Jackson, he ain't coming through that door. You look at the way in which they built this team. They got Kyle Hamilton right before the final bells tolled as far as the regular season and end of the offseason. They got Kyle Hamilton under contract. They've done everything that they've needed to do to assemble the team. You have a Zach Orr who has a great defensive staff. Chuck Pagano comes out of retirement. You look at the way this team is composed, and you know that this is a football-ready win-now proposition. You got a Mike Green who has slid into the second round. You do your due diligence. You say, hey, he's going to be a great fit for our squad. He comes out there. He shows out. You just look across the board from a receiver aspect of things. D-Hop is doing his thing, but you also got a guy in Tez Walker who last year, Ravens do what they do. They allow the development to come about. You allow him to play on special teams. Hey, we got a game against the Giants. We know they're not going to be our caliber. Okay, but let's see what you can do. He goes out, shows out, makes an amazing touchdown catch, first touchdown, hallelujah. He goes into training camp with a ton of confidence, comes out of training camp even more confident in his abilities. You talk about Trenton Simpson. Man, listen, we need you to show up. You're not going to show up? We bench you. Okay, we're not going to give up on you, but we're going to give you another opportunity. They put competition after competition in his path, and he showed up to the point where, the final preseason game against the Commanders, he makes big plays. It's littered across the board. Oh, man, Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker's not going to be our kicker. What do? Randy Brown, I want you to go out there and scour out the nation and see if you can find a guy. Goes out there and finds Tyler Loop. Tyler Loop comes in, boom. We see what he can do. I see that when it comes to the kicking game, there are going to probably be some bumps in the road. But at the same time, we also know Tyler Loop looks like he is ready to go. You need a punt returner, LaJohntay Wester. We got him. Heck, you talk about, we don't know. We do know this. Derrick Henry got his extension. He's back too. The stage is set. Let us see what happens. Sean McDermott, you got the stage set too. 5 AFC East Division championships that are hanging up. Them banners are hanging up, and it looks pretty. Highmark Stadium is going to be torn down. They got another dope, close to $1 billion stadium. Going to be, maybe it is $1 billion plus, is going to be over right across the street too. The Mafia and the Flock, both organizations are saying we are built for this. For what? For a Super Bowl run. We should be looking at this game, John Harbaugh, Sean McDermott, as the start of a road, and let's see who blinks first. That's going to be the telltale sign. Not Josh Allen, not Lamar Jackson, not the coordinators, both head coaches. Period. End of discussion.
Yep, I'm with you. And it feels like Terrell Suggs is with you. Feels like a lot of the NFL world is with you. And coming up in the second part of the show, we'll keep talking about what Terrell Suggs had to say, as well as Nick Moore responding to those Dan Orlovsky comments about expectations. So be sure to stay tuned. Plenty coming up on Locked On Ravens. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right means cashing in. With football-backed PrizePicks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. Now, I've been playing PrizePicks lately, and it's such a fun way to stay locked in for the season. It's quick, it's easy, and honestly, it's my favorite way to follow along with football. I love checking all the projections, like for Sunday night. Josh Allen, can he go for more or less in his passing yard total? Derrick Henry, can he go for more or less than 1 rushing touchdown? And this week's max discounts, they include Lamar Jackson, 0.5 passing yards. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. And the show is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time they drive. And that's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety, style, and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every detail. As an athlete focuses on every detail, Mazda does the same, from metallic accents to hand-stitched Napa leather. You can feel it the moment you get behind the wheel, the smooth handling, intuitive controls, and standard all-wheel drive in every crossover SUV. Whether it's a quick drive to practice or a weekend road trip, Mazda makes even everyday drives feel special. And Mazda offers more than safety. It's won more 2025 IAHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else as of August 2025. It's the small details that make the big plays. And just like there's more to every player, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Back here on Locked On Ravens, Kevin Ostreicher, Qadry Ismail still diving into Ravens content, Ravens talk, and I've got some interesting comments. Former players, current players. We talked about Dan Orlovsky's comments about the Ravens' expectations. Terrell Suggs, his personal expectations for the Ravens this season. And you're just kind of looking through Suggs' comments here. One thing that Suggs talked about a little bit, he was asked about what was working and what was missing for the Ravens and kind of how they can take that next step. Talked about how he said, quote, it's always good to have a two-time MVP touching the ball on every play when your offense is at the helm. They have that in Lamar Jackson, so that's always good. They also got the big guy in the back, Derrick Henry, but everybody knows running back's durability in the NFL. Even though he's exceeded these expectations, it's good to have those two back there. And now, in terms of what was missing, Terrell Suggs said, quote, the problem there is I think we need a true number one receiver. Mark Andrews and likely they can only do so much to tight ends. We need a true number one receiver. The Batemans are going to have to be that guy for us, or Zay Flowers. I think they're the best. This is just my opinion. Number two receivers. Zay is killer in the slot. Not many nickel cornerbacks can cover him one-on-one, but I think we need that true number one receiver or someone to emerge as a number one receiver. You and I have talked about Zay Q. You and I have talked about Rashad Bateman. We both think they have the potential to emerge as that number one guy, like Terrell Suggs has said. I see you. I see you making a little smirk. I see you. I see you. The gears are turning in your mind. So I'm just going to open the floor to you, and I'm going to let you take it away here and use your receiver expertise to respond.
Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman are 1 and 1A. They are number one receiver type guys, period. Let's move on. They have made plays in the clutch time and time again. Now, last year, divisional round playoff, Bateman showed up at the very, very end. Okay, hurt his foot a little bit, had to come out, couldn't finish the game. Cool. But when it came to tough catches, route running and all that, up until that point, all season long, made big plays like a number one should. When you look at Zay Flowers, it's stuck in his craw. The previous year, ball gets punched out of his arms for him to help the team to go ahead and get to the Super Bowl. Okay, but what do we see? Zay Flowers come back time and time again, making plays to the point where his colleagues and his peers and his contemporaries were like, yo, homeboy is a Pro Bowler. He gets voted in to the Pro Bowl. You ain't no number two if you ain't really showing out and showing up. I think both guys are more than worthy of the moniker of being a go-to threat. A go-to threat, third down, whatever, point in the game, fourth quarter, 2-minute time left, red zone, open field, back to the wall, all of it. You're getting it to one of those two guys, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to come up with the big play. Period. End of discussion. They're number one receiving threats. Make no mistake about it.
They're extremely talented players, and I think the thing that encourages me the most is the growth. Particularly, obviously, Q. We talked all offseason last year about Rashad Bateman, and you never wavered on that. I remember, I'll always give you credit for that. You were always on the Rashad Bateman train. I was there with you. I was just like, can we please get a season of these two together, Lamar and Bateman? It's been Lamar's injured and Bateman's healthy, or Bateman's healthy and Lamar's it's just, we finally got that season from them. And I think it went how we both expected, with Bateman breaking out and Lamar showing that he trusts in not only Bateman, obviously, but Flowers and the rest of the guys in that wide receiver room. Now, taking it back to Dan Orlovsky's comments, because, it all kind of wraps up nicely with expectations. Suggs shared his, Orlovsky shared his. Well, Nick Moore responded, Ravens long snapper, to Orlovsky's comments about, there's no organization under more pressure than the Baltimore Ravens. And Nick said, quote, nobody has higher expectations for the Baltimore Ravens than we do. What he did there was state the obvious. We have the best player in the NFL. We have arguably the best secondary in the NFL. We have one of the best, if not the best, running backs. We know that we haven't played to our standard in the playoffs, at least since I've been here. This is the most important game because it's the next one. What happened last year is what happened last year. All the stuff that they want to talk about outside of here is not really important. What matters is the 53 guys, the 16 practice squad players. It only matters what we think and what we do on Sundays. And I think that's a really good response from Nick, if we're being honest. And obviously Nick joins us here on the Locked On Ravens squad show, sometimes on the Locked On Ravens regular show as well. And we've heard Nick and the insight that he provides. And this goes right in line with kind of what we've heard from him about, look, people can say what they want to say, but frankly, the message is we don't really care. We're going to go do what we do anyway, and we're going to go out there and perform. And it feels like they do a good job of blocking out the outside noise, Q, and it feels like that's what Nick is relaying to everybody in that message.
Honestly, when it comes down to it, it's about you and the fellas in the locker room. It's the equipment staff. It's the training staff. It's the guys that are around you. You're not going to get caught up in people who really technically cannot affect you. Your family, to a degree, can, yes, affect you. But even that, once you're in that rarefied space of the locker room, the equipment guy can make your life miserable. The guy that helps you nutritionally, the girls that help you nutritionally can affect you. The ladies that are helping you in the training room, the guys that are helping you in the training room, they can affect you. The fellas that are sitting there in the locker room, they can affect you. Coaches can affect you. Anybody else outside of that, they can't. What can you do? So to Nick's point, I mean, they got a pretty doggone good locker room, like some really good people. And because of that, the whole cliche of circle the wagons come about. Like, we know what we need to do. We can't allow outside distractions to thwart our efforts. This is where the fun of the process comes in. So process-oriented that it's just so much fun. Oh, look, we won a game. So process-oriented. Oh, look, now we're in the playoffs. So process-oriented. Hey, did you know that Kevin Oestreicher and Qadry Ismail are going to be traveling across country and coming to join us in San Francisco? And they're going to be watching us play whomever in the NFC because we represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Like, that's so process-oriented. I'm going to have my ribeye medium rare, and I'm going to enjoy it thoroughly. I might have a baked potato with some grass-fed butter, overload on that, maybe some good old sour cream with it too. Salt, pepper, bam, that's all. Maybe some cheese, some cheddar, good cheddar. Yeah, I'll do that. Like, that's what we're talking about. They're going to get so caught up in the process, they will not care about the outside noise, and that's good. You don't want to care. You don't want to get caught up in the distractions.
Look, I'm not a professional athlete. I have not been. Obviously, Q, you have been. It just feels like it'd be exhausting to just continuously keep up with all that stuff and, kind of keep up with it on a weekly, daily basis. It's just, you've made it, and this is what you told Nick on the squad show, right? One of the less than 1% that makes it to that level. You and him both accomplished that. Tells you something about, kind of the journey that you guys had and everything you did to get there. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can question it. Like, you did that. So I think that, living that way and I don't think it's wrong if you do, but it'd be exhausting to me personally if that was kind of what I was looking and seeing, what's somebody saying about me today? What's somebody saying about me? What was said? That to me, I think would be it'd add a lot of exhaustion in my opinion. So that's where I am with that. But coming up in the final part of the show, we'll talk about the latest injury news for week 1 for the Baltimore Ravens, as well as final feelings on the team as we head into Sunday. So stay tuned. A lot coming up on the show. This episode is brought to you by DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For the Ravens, Keon Martin delivered it a big way throughout the preseason. He had a pick 6. He had multiple run stops, great special teams play. All of that was a big reason why he made the Ravens' final 53-man roster. It was an undrafted free agent that wasn't even signed in the Ravens' initial undrafted free agent period. He was signed after rookie minicamp or during rookie minicamp. And when the pressure was on, Keon Martin absolutely came through. No hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, this performance was not a fluke. Keon Martin was on a streak during the preseason. And just like Keon Martin delivered for the Ravens, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through 11/18. Rolling along here on Locked On Ravens with Qadry Ismail. I am Kevin Ostreicher. Want to remind everybody, we're a 5-day-a-week Ravens podcast here on Locked On Ravens. Monday through Friday, we bring you that daily Ravens coverage, but sometimes we have bonus episodes on the weekend when there are headlines. That's what we're doing today, a little bonus episode on Saturday. We also are going to have the Locked On Ravens watch-alongs this year, so we'll be reacting to every single play live during the games. Then we'll have the instant reaction show after that. And then, of course, Q, Sam, and Joku and I are going to be on the Locked On Ravens squad show post-game, reacting to everything that happened there. Q, we know the Ravens are going to be missing a couple key contributors in this game. On Friday, it was again Isaiah Likely and Patrick Ricard not practicing, and of course, they are not going to play in this game. Jair Alexander, though, left no doubt he was going to play. He practiced again, and he said that he has no doubt he'll be out there on Sunday, and he feels good physically. We talked on the squad show on Thursday night about how the Ravens might have to adjust without Isaiah out there, without Patrick Ricard out there. Now that it's becoming a little more real, is there any concern level? I know Charlie Kolar is going to be a big part of this. I think he can pick up the slack. But, I mean, how big of a loss is Likely? How big of a loss is Ricard in the grand scheme of things?
I mean, it's huge. Make no mistake about it. You know, Isaiah Likely is so in lockstep with Lamar Jackson's game and how Todd Monken calls a play, and that's the first act. The second act is what really makes things happen for this Ravens offense, and they do such a fabulous job of just understanding the second act. So, yeah, he's going to be sorely missed. But, again, you're looking at the process, and so, you know, as the year goes on, you're going to get him back, and he's going to, yes, get right back on the saddle and make the big plays and all the things that's going to be necessary for this team to be successful later in the year. With that said, Charlie Kolar, your name is called. The cool thing about it, the fact that, yeah, Pancake Pat is not going to be there. Ricard, you're looking at a guy that is so valuable, not only in the run game, but also in the red zone and in the passing game. I think that Charlie Kolar kind of fills a dual role. He can be that blocker that we've seen, but he can also make plays, maybe not quite the likes of Isaiah Likely, but he can make some big plays. He's shown he can make some big plays. He's been able to be that red zone reliable threat as well. So I have full belief and confidence that Charlie Kolar will be making big plays against the Buffalo Bills and whatever his role calls for moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to have to be that way. I mean, this is a huge spot for Charlie. And, you know, for me, if he can step up and play in this game, which I know that he can, and I have expectations that he will, I think everybody right now is kind of talking. Well, it's obviously about Mark Andrews, right? Him returning to Buffalo. That's the whole storyline, and Isaiah not being there. But Charlie Kolar's kind of flown under the radar here. Charlie Kolar, Q, we've talked about it. He's also fighting for a contract. He also is up for an extension or wherever. Maybe he leaves and gets a bag elsewhere. This is an opportunity for Charlie, not just to help out his team, but to help him out in the future and to say, hey, yeah, Mark's really talented. Isaiah's really talented, but I am here too. So I think this is a major spot for him. I'm really excited about what he can bring to the table. But you're right. I mean, both those guys, not having them, it is a big blow. They're going to have to respond. And obviously the Bills are going to be without a couple of guys as well. It looks like we will see how it ends up shaking out. But, you know, even a guy like Keon Coleman, who said that he wasn't concerned about, you know, being able to play, he says it sounds like he's good to go, at least according to what he's saying there. Bills could be without a couple of guys too, especially at that corner 2 spot, which we talked about on the squad show. Going to be important for the Ravens to take advantage there. All right, Q, what are your final feelings around the team right now? Feels like the vibes are good. You know, there's a lot of pressure. We've talked about, like, we've led up to this moment all off season with all the speculation talk, all the narratives. The Ravens are going to have to face that throughout the entire year. And I kind of talked about it as like a lose-lose situation for them. Now, again, they're not going to feed into the outside noise, but if they win games, it's going to be, oh, well, they couldn't do it in the playoffs. They haven't done it in the playoffs like that. And then if they lose, it's going to be like, oh, well, look what's going on. Look at this. Lamar's not good at this, that, and the other. I want to put my opinion based off of what I see with the roster, what we've seen Lamar Jackson and company be able to do. which is we know this group is incredibly talented. We know that they have depth across the board. I'm just excited. Feels like the team is excited. Feels like they have clear set goals, forcing more turnovers, limiting pre-snap penalties and mistakes. Feels like they have it all thought out. But of course, it's what you do on the field, not what you talk about.
Well, yeah, but I also think you got to set your intentions. I also think you got to go ahead and show up when it comes to the preparation phase. And you can check both of those boxes. They stated their intentions. And when you look at what they've done to this point, they've checked off the boxes. And so now it's like, all right, cool. Next thing to check off is the art of actually doing it. And that's the fun, again, to use that term. And it's like when you are the defense and you look at the history and you look at the culture that has been established, you know that it's about legacy and establishing this 2025 season as a year of the defense kind of peeling off whatever layer of last year's new growth into now we're a full-on mature defense. We got a great mix of young and old. You don't really have too many old veterans. Obviously, KVN is I don't even say he's long in the tooth as far as his play, but yeah, he's the wily vet. But other than that, you got a good, strong mixture of some young guys in the Mike Greens and Malachi Starks of the world and the Nate Wiggins of the world. But then you also got the Marlon Humphreys of the world. I say old guy, but technically, he's not necessarily old, and Kyle Hamilton. But my point is that, you got a guy in who I think he's still in his prime, and Agent Zero, high tide raises all ships. And so Roquan Smith is, a guy that you're looking at like, all right, Matabike, all right, I see you. I see this team is a good, strong mixture of guys that, yeah, they're ready to establish their legacy and say that, this isn't just going to be on our offense, but we want all the pressure. We want all the smoke, and good for them. And I love the fact that, Zach Orr has some really good veteran coaches on his side that I think is going to be ready to show up and show out. Chuck Pagano is going to have, the secondary rooming and ready to go. I think Jair Alexander, whatever his role will be, Jacoby Owuzie, I think when you look at what the mastermind and Chuck can do to get that group to play extremely well, mother of pearl. It's a good situation to be in. And if I am the Baltimore Ravens, I think their expectations verbally, as well as what they've put out on the field in preparation, should be sky high and ready to go.
Lots of excitement on the line for Sunday. And of course, the Bills, as we just finished up, put Tyler Bass on IR, their kicker. So Matt Prater is in line to kick on Sunday for them. Q, appreciate you. Thank you for hopping on. Before I let you out of here, please tell people where they can find you and what you're working on.
Yeah, so it's all about missile training, missiletraining.com. Missiletraining.com is where you can find me, locate, communicate, and talk about human movement and sports performance. Doesn't matter if you're a team, doesn't matter if you're an individual, no matter the sport, I got you covered as far as helping you improve your speed, your durability, as well as maximizing those 3 levels of strength: eccentric, concentric, and yes, isometric. Got you covered for all your needs. Again, when you're talking about what we got going on here, it's all about the Squad Show. We got you covered on the Squad Show twice a week, and we got our post-game Squad Show. But then you also got Locked On Ravens with Kevin Ostreicher and I each and every week. We're going to be breaking it down for you for this 2025 season. Buckle up. It's going to be one heck of a roller coaster. We're going to love every minute of it as well. And then, of course, WJZ, you can find me on that channel for my Purple pregame show.
Be sure to support Q. All the links in the description down below. Q, I appreciate you. And thank you to everybody who watched, listened to Locked On Ravens today. It's game day tomorrow, so coming up, be sure to check out all of our content. The watch along at 8:20 on Sunday night. We'll get the instant reaction after that, and the squad show, like you mentioned, after that. So be sure to stay tuned for all that. Hit the like and subscribe button in video form, follow along and subscribe in audio form, and I'll see you right back here soon on Locked On Ravens.